In the studio with me this morning to review certain stories in our daily newspaper, especially leadership newspaper, is the state correspondent of the newspaper, Mr. Femi Oyeweso. Also, I have in the studio a veteran journalist, public analyst, and a broadcast veteran, Mr. Dele Ayodo, to as well to cope the review. You are welcome to the program, sir.
Thank you. Good morning.
Yeah, viewers at home. Recently, or just of yesterday, the presidency denies salary increase for political office holders. Before we know it, the media has initially, especially the conventional media, have initially took the story to everywhere that the federal government has approved the 114% increment for political office holder and judiciary office holder as well. But just before everybody went home yesterday, the special advisor on media and strategy to the presidency, Mr. Dele Alake, released a statement stating that the federal government has not approved any salary increment for political office holders. It is on this that I'm having these two learned men to discuss the issue with me. Mr. Femi Oyeweso, how do you see the scenario?
Thanks very much. Good morning, viewers at home. Well, it's not too much, but I think the real issue behind this boils down to the fact that we have to be very cautious of the kind of stories, the kind of news we read on the social media. It's quite unfortunate that even the conventional media organizations, some of them also fell into the trap. But the real story behind the news is that there was nothing like that, according to Mr. Dele Alake. Of course, it is one of the news that would have, that was capable of generating serious heat in the political system of the country, because when you look at it, one will expect that it shouldn't be around this time that the federal government will start increasing salaries of the political office holders. Against the backdrop of several unsettled arrears and pensions of some senior servants that have served the country. Now, thank God that the special advisor to Mr. President on media and strategy has just come out to allay the fear of Nigerians that the story was not true. So we should be careful of what we read on the social medias.
Okay, thank you for that. Mr. Ayodo, what's your take on this?
Well, once again, thank you for having me. Ordinarily, I would have just dismissed this and say I don't want to say anything about it. Since the presidency has said, denied it, they've debunked it, and that they've thrown it into the trash can. So I will have just said there's nothing to say about it. But it's an opportunity for me to do a critique on my constituency, the media itself. I'm happy Oyeweso cannot be described to be young in the profession.
Exactly.
It's abysmal, it's appalling. The practice of journalism and reportorial, far away from what somebody like me, I'm sure Oyeweso too, were trained in and went through. The so-called conventional, even the senior ones, I don't want to mention names, that we had deliberately used that word, because I no longer have that kind of regard and respect on the practice, even at the headlines, even at the casting of the stories, the reportorial of them. Everything has become wishy-washy. It's no longer in the portrait of what serious-minded people will want to regard, whatever the paper that carried it. Why did I say so? Let's even assume that there is a story in there as a practitioner, as a professional reportorial, there's a process for this. Can you just come out and say a woman that you see all the time without sign of pregnancy, and somebody comes in to tell you that she gave birth to a triplet,
The miracle
and then you
pregnancy.
went and believe it without fact checking first? When was she pregnant? Who impregnated her? Which hospital? These are the pedestal questions, steps you must take before you now help people to say Auntie Yinka is pregnant or Auntie Yinka gave birth to a triplet. In these circumstances, salary fixing of political order is constitutional. It cannot be done by fiat. It cannot be done using an executive power. It must pass through the legislative process. If it's a national issue, the exclusive right belongs to the National Assembly. If it's for the state, then the State House of Assembly has to pass through it. It passed through the process of first reading, second reading, and then before debate goes on it, before it is approved at the legislative, before it is sent, they call it the clean copy, sent to the executive, and then before it is signed, that's when it becomes law. And the paper just come out, they have increased by 100 and something %. I think that's too poor. That's too poor journalistic effort. That's why I'm talking on it. It's a shame. We see this kind of poor ventures all around. I think those of us who have bent the curve should do more to ensure that these younger ones, unfortunately, even with the editors today, are the groups in which I can call greenhouse. So what do you expect them? You can't give what you don't have.
Mr. Oweso, how do we put an end to these media anomalies?
Thank you very much. I think I once said it that we have to be very careful of what we read. Just like Mr. Yodu said now, the crop of online editors that we have in the head offices these days is very appalling. What are the experiences? In the process of trying to break the news, you rush to the news. The way you rush into the news, then you rush out. And it goes a long way to tell on the integrity of your organization. There are enough tools for editors to deploy when you are editing a copy submitted by your reporter from the feed. Have you ever fact check? You did not do that. Have you made calls across to your colleagues? The presidency is there. You can make phone calls across to whomever that is in charge. That I'm talking in terms of stories that are even not of this magnitude. But a story of this magnitude, just like Mr. Ayodo rightly pointed out, that is a constitutional matter which needs the input of the National Assembly. And then, men, for goodness sake, the editors should be very, very careful of what they're doing. And I think they are trying to justify the recent former Minister of Information, Alhaji Lai Mohammed, said social media should be regulated. But how do we regulate them? How do we regulate them? So I want to see this as a kind of a clarion call on the Guild of Editors to ensure that maybe they will involve a kind of a punishment for media organizations that find themselves in this kind of a mess, so that they will not, continue to bring this kind of a shame to the profession. Thank you.
Okay, before I come to the issue of ombudsman, Mr. Ayodo, what do you have to say to how to put an end to this anomaly?
No, he has said so. In my days, you cannot become a line editor or the one we call beat editor, assistant news editor, whatever, without passing through some process. One, you'll have been a reporter, you'll have reported, been on the field. In most cases, before you become the editor, you'll have been a correspondent. And what that does is that your experience and contact, your source is wide. As an editor, even a news editor, you should have your contact using your correspondence or experience over any issue. Where you don't have direct link, oh, he was with me, we were together in Ogun State. Get so person, can you help me confirm this? The same thing that the National Assembly. At that experience shows, we should go back to that. Nobody gets to the police today from a corporal, you become the commissioner of police.
Impossible.
You understand that? That's what we have today.
That's like jumping the gun.
You have people who have never reported. They've not been reporters. They become editors. Of course, the lacuna will show. The holes will be there. So let them go. And I also agree with him. I pick that from him. Let there be punishment. The one you say you have desecrated the profession. You have brought a collective shame. So they should be punished. Maybe once you have that, then there will be sit tight.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Briefly, let's talk about this ombudsman that have just been composed by certain media houses. What do you expect from them? Mr. Iweso, first.
Well, it still goes a long way to, to tell you that you must fact check. So it's easy. It's been there for a very long period of time. And as a senior reporter, before you become a line editor, before you become either the deputy or whatever in the office, you should know this. So we should go back to the desk, dust our jotters, and still refresh. Thank you very much.
Thank you for that. So it's on that note we put a rest for this topic and go to another one that has to do with here in Ogun State, the tribunal dismissal of PDP Adebutu's application against Abiodun. How are we going to end this? How are you seeing it? The drama, the court drama, and the rest of it.
Well, coming back home to Ogun State and talking about the tribunal matter that is going on between the ruling APC and the opposition, the main opposition, People's Democratic Party. I think this rivalry has been on for a very long period of time. It's equally unfortunate that what we are witnessing today is coming from, men of the same constituency. If you look at the governor's candidate of the APC, the incumbent governor is drawn from the same town with the governorship candidate of the PDP. Now they find themselves in a court after the Independent National Electoral Commission had declared the incumbent governor as winning the election and then returned. But the PDP is challenging the electoral victory. Now, tribunal yesterday now came up and then threw up the application. It's a very big win situation for the incumbent governor, bearing in mind that just about not up to a week that PDPs suffered the same fate. So this one coming again is a very big indication that the governor, the man at the helm of affairs presently is actually in charge, and so we cannot just take it away from them. We can't take it away from them. The lawyers of the PDP, the opposition PDP, need to get their house together, because if you are accusing somebody of engaging in vote buying, whereas the federal government is already prosecuting you of having committed the same offense. So it's like, it's like giving me an avenue to further nail you on what you did. So you can't call me a stupid man when it is too obvious that you are a dunce. I think that's just the situation.
Mr. Ido, what's your take on this?
Well, first of all, I don't know what Femi meant by the governor is in charge. I don't expect the governor to be in charge in court. I don't expect him to have any power in the judiciary. So maybe I don't understand.
Probably was trying to say that the governor is as one, two of.
What I'm actually saying is that he's in charge of his electoral victory.
Okay, maybe the process of
the process. Yeah.
Okay. It all look good for him. That's straightforward. It's funny sometimes. The lawyers, they'll say they're doing their job. There are some cases that even I'm not a lawyer. Those of us who are not a lawyer, who just have wisdom and intelligence quotient above a little, we know that this case goes near and left. There's no taproot in it, the way it's going. That's what we are saying. I should also make a correction. The court has not dismissed the case. It is the allegation of vote buying against the APC. Look, from day one, on the day of the election, when I had the evidence that there was vote buying from the ATM, in quote, that was produced by PDP.
Vevcard.
I told, what do you call it?
Vevcard.
Webcard, okay, I call it
Senate.
I call it
Yeah, actually it is ATM card.
So call it whatever name, but I call it ATM. I have a copy of it. I have it with me. And I told the boys who said, and I said, look, much as you will have had good case, because they had hope, PDP members, they had good hope that they have a good case. I said, much as you are there, I said, this is a too strong evidence against you. I don't know how you are going to do that. That even if the court is, no court will overlook this because it is a constitutional issue. You must not buy votes. And truly, of course, politicians and APC capitalized on that. So that was the cross of APC's defense. So no matter what you want to say, you bought votes. Ó píparí. Oníwọ̀n kọ́ ló jí ẹran. Ẹlẹ́ran ní dúdú ni ẹran. Ìgbà tó máa wò ṣáṣun ẹ. Ẹran dúdú náà bá bẹ̀.
How do you come about
How do you come about that you are not known to rear goats? You understand that? So your case is as good as bad. That's what they have. Now, when the case is already on, when you realize that APC is using that vote buying, between us as journalists, I don't deny, I don't deceive people. All of them bought votes, the major parties. All of them bought votes. But in court, it is evidence before me. So APC had evidence to show. Your own, you don't have evidence. It's like what I'm saying. I cannot bring, even though I know those who bought and sold. But they won't come and tell me in court. So you are now coming as your own defense and say, he too bought vote. That's what the court has said, Ogbeni, no. You are already been alleged. Your own is to answer that allegation that I did not buy vote. Your answer should not be, Shebo, no, ra. It is because he bought that I now bought. That's what PDP were saying. And the court said, that is not permitted here. So that's what the court has told them. So face your case, face your defense, and rightly so. Let's watch, let's see how it will go. It's a judicial matter. I'm not a member of the judiciary. We only follow them and report it. But from the angle of the public court, that every case will always come to. Every case will always come to the public court. I'm seeing a bad case for PDP.
Thank you very much, viewers at home. It's on this note that we are calling it a day on this Journalists Explain This for this edition. Kindly join us on Friday again for another edition of the program. I remain your host, Idris Odonide. Thank you very much.